Sutton's been one of the best casting choices in years, though, of course, not everyone's a fan, especially those Team FF5 folks like Dorit and Erica. I get it, Sutton's not everyone's cup of tea, but to those who want her gone and call her boring, I just don't get it. If anything, she probably works harder for that diamond than anyone else each season. From day one, Sutton's been in the middle of the drama, never relegated to the background. I hate to admit it, but Kyle's really the only one who has consistently held a central spot in the action, and we all know how I feel about her. Nearly every other cast member has been sidelined at some point. But Sutton, she sees through the BS, calling out things others are too scared to mention, like Erica's legal troubles. Sure, the others would gossip behind her back, but only Sutton had the guts to hold Erica accountable in person. And let's be real, Erica wasn't exactly nice to Sutton either. The idea that Sutton was too harsh on her. Please, Erica's accusations were way out there, and she never showed any remorse. Sutton was right to challenge her. In her first couple of seasons, I actually felt bad for Sutton. She was the punching bag for the FF5, and it sometimes crossed into straight-up bullying territory. That Aspen night? A total nightmare. The women just ganged up on her, no matter what she did. Well, except Garcelle, who was her only ally. So I'm over Dorit acting like Sutton's the villain here. Seriously, how can Dorit claim Sutton's been horrible to her when she's been in a nasty little clique that's tormented Sutton from the start? Sutton hinting at Dorit's finances? Please, that's nothing compared to Dorit trying to paint Sutton as a raging alcoholic. If we're talking about fairness, Sutton's got every right to throw some shade back. Now, I'm not saying Sutton's always right, but even when she's wrong, she's hilarious. That Magic Mike moment, pure gold. Watching her storm out, screaming about being on the American Ballet Association just because she didn't get picked for a lap dance. That's the kind of campy, over-the-top drama I live for. That's real Housewives material right there. To be a good housewife, you need to show the highs and lows, and Sutton does that better than most. Housewives who don't need the show for money or fame are often the most entertaining because they're unhinged enough to invite all this chaos into their lives. Unhinged equals great TV. Honestly, I'm not even a huge Sutton fan, but that doesn't mean she should be fired. If every housewife was likable, the show would be a snooze. Drama and conflict are what we're tuning in for. Every season, Sutton's been at the heart of the drama. Without her, Season 11 would have been a total bore-fest. She asked the hard questions about Erica, the ones everyone else was too scared to ask. Sutton's a firecracker, and she and Garcelle move the storyline like no one else. It's bizarre when people try to downplay their importance in the group. Oh, please, let's not pretend Adrienne was supportive of Taylor. If you're still believing that after watching those seasons, it's time for a serious rewatch. Adrienne treated Taylor terribly. Let's break this down. Taylor bravely opened up about the abuse, and instead of offering empathy, Adrienne blamed her. She acted like it was some huge betrayal that Taylor wasn't ready to leave Russell immediately after opening up. Basically, Adrienne thought, oh, you told us you're being abused, but didn't pack up and leave right away? That's just so unfair to the other housewives. Seriously, she made it sound like Taylor should have stayed quiet if she wasn't prepared for an immediate escape. Then there's the infamous moment when Taylor, with her therapist by her side, because, trauma, tried to apologize and explain herself to the group. What does Adrienne do? She dismisses Taylor entirely, repeating over and over, no lawsuits. Apologize. She didn't give a single damn about what Taylor was trying to communicate. She was too busy worrying about lawsuits and looking right. And Taylor had bruises, by the way. But Adrienne? She saw it all as a liability. She got the others to see it the same way too. Once Russell threatened to drag them all into legal trouble, they all suddenly stopped viewing Taylor as a person and just saw her as a walking lawsuit. Then there's Adrienne's classic, I'm not getting involved, "It's not my business routine," while Camille chimes in, saying that Taylor is the one putting herself and her child in danger. Rewatch those seasons if you don't believe me, because it's a joke. And don't even get me started on all the people who think Adrienne was so supportive after watching some TikTok workout video where she's laughing with Taylor. Seriously, what? After everything we saw, people are still buying into this revisionist nonsense. It blows my mind. Meanwhile, LVP, with all her flaws, and believe me, I had a long list, was actually the one who offered Taylor a place to stay. Not because they were friends, but because she recognized Taylor needed a safe space. That's more support than any of these other women showed. Oh, and let's not forget the shining example of perfect behavior, $25,000 sunglasses lady. She was the one who said, "If my girl says it happened, it happened." Hell yes, she's the only one who didn't just turn their back on Taylor. The rest, absolutely beyond forgiveness. I was ready to throw my glass at the TV, honestly. I had completely forgotten how awful they all were. And somehow, Adrienne still manages to get away with this bizarre, saintly reputation in the fan community. The whole thing is wild. But the real kicker, Faye Resnick, of all people, had a moment of clarity in that season. She called out Kyle for treating Taylor terribly, actually acknowledging that Taylor's behavior was pretty typical for someone in an abusive situation. You know, not everyone who's in that situation leaves immediately. Yet somehow, that's still a rare moment of understanding among this group of women. The rest? Nope, they were all just a hot mess. So yeah, the post praising Adrienne's support is straight up revisionist history. I can't believe how many people are falling for it. Adrienne was anything but supportive. Okay, so quick mystery for all you detective types out there. Was Running Point actually filmed at Dorit's house? Or am I just seeing things? In episode 8, we get these wide shots of Kate Hudson's house, and I swear to all things fabulous, it looks just like Dorit's place. The pool, the front gate, literally everything. But let's be real, modern farmhouses in LA are basically as common as coffee shops, so maybe I'm just imagining things. Anyone else catch this? Or is it just my brain playing tricks on me? Help a girl out here. So I'm finally catching up on Beverly Hills, and wow, the ongoing feud between Dorit and Sutton? It feels a bit like it's been engineered for the show. Like, could this whole drama really be about ratings and storylines? Because at this point, it's hard to believe it's all authentic. Sure, the cameras definitely play a role, but let's be real, both Sutton and Dorit are the queens of holding grudges. Neither knows how to apologize, and both are incapable of just shutting up and moving on. And seriously, Sutton's bigger wallet comment, not that big of a deal, it was just to them. But of course, Dorit, with her shallowness, finds a way to make it a huge offense. Honestly, I think they genuinely hate each other. As for Dorit and Kyle's drama, that feels way more manufactured, especially since they brushed it off so fast. It's almost like the producers were like, okay, you two made up, now move along. The way Dorit and Sutton are constantly triggering each other is exhausting at this point. But let's not forget, Dorit's trying to keep her diamond, so, you know, the drama has to keep going. But it's just boring. The fact that they're stuck together so much, it's obviously for the job, because if this wasn't a paycheck, I can't imagine them spending this much time in the same room. At the end of the day, this feud is just another reminder that the only way a feud is fun to watch is if the people involved actually make it entertaining. Neen and Kim, anyone? Now that was a feud. Why is everyone suddenly out for Garcelle? Honestly, I already know the answer, but let's dive into this anyway. It's honestly wild to scroll through TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, probably even here, and see the flood of comments demanding Garcelle's exit. Garcelle's useless, she's boring, she needs to go. And I'm just sitting here thinking, really? Let's be honest, for at least the last 6 seasons, Beverly Hills has always revolved around one big drama. We don't exactly care about individual storylines because, let's face it, the women haven't had any or have kept them under wraps. So yeah, we need those pot stirrers and bone collectors who will keep things moving and spark conversation. Enter Rinna, who, for years, stirred the pot while barely sharing anything about her life beyond her mom, her daughters, and, of course, her QVC career. The rest of the FF5, you know who they are, haven't been exactly forthcoming about their lives unless they've been forced to spill, like with the Tom scandal, PK, and Mao's little indiscretions, and the endless lawsuits. But hey, that's just how BH operates, right? Still, it would be nice if they showed up in group scenes and actually did something, asked the tough questions, sparked some drama. But nope, nada. So, forgive me for being confused when people are out for Garcelle's blood. She's literally been the anchor for BH ever since LVP and the FF5 were ousted. She's done what the rest of them refused to do, be real. Garcelle is the proxy for the audience, asking the questions we're all thinking, calling out the lies and shady behavior, and yes, being open about her own struggles, like Oliver's addiction. She's had conflict, but guess what? She doesn't act like a jerk about it. She's willing to move on when a genuine apology is made, and she's shady as hell and doesn't care. Compare that to Dorit, who acts all innocent while being shady, Kyle, who preaches honesty, but is anything but, and Erica, who's a train wreck of bad decisions and worse attitudes. Garcelle is a breath of fresh air in that mess. I mean, I did the answer to why people are coming for her, but the vitriol is just so bizarre when she's the one who actually shows up, clocks in, and does the damn job. And let's talk about this one. Boz is so much better than Garcelle. What even is that? Why does no one say Boz is so much better than Erica and Kyle? Oh wait, maybe we know the answer to that one. Suddenly, there's an issue because there's a new token in town. It's honestly ridiculous. I like Boz. I like Garcelle. Can we not have both? Garcelle is one of the greats of this new era of Housewives. She's fun, she's cool, she asks the tough questions, and she forms genuine friendships with her castmates. Her relationship with Sutton is one of the best dynamics on RHOBH right now, sweet, real, and entertaining. If anyone's watching these recent seasons with duds like Erica, Kyle, and Dorit, and still thinks Garcelle or Sutton is the problem, pure insanity. Rewatching it from the beginning, and wow, just wow, you really start to feel for Taylor. We haven't even reached the gut-wrenching parts yet, but seeing her shrink away from him, constantly looking at other couples with that mix of awe and longing, it's honestly painful to watch. I can't even begin to imagine how brutal it must have been for her to relive all of this on TV, especially after how things ended. Oh, and it also reminded me that she brought up concerns about foul play around his death during one of the reunions. Anyone know if anything came of that? Let's clear something up. Sutton wasn't talking about Dorit's wallet, or, more accurately, the lack thereof. I honestly feel like people are intentionally twisting Sutton's words, trying to make it look like she's looking down on those who don't have as much money as her. Newsflash: Sutton's not using her wealth as a weapon because, frankly, it wouldn't even make sense to. She's not out here condescending to poor people. But Dorit? Well, she's basically the poster child for caring way too much about money, appearances, and pretending to be rich. Case in point, she won't even admit if her house is in foreclosure, but will eagerly show off her latest channel pieces from next season like we all don't know the difference. Spoiler alert, Dorit's broke. Sutton's real issue with her is how she acts like she's rolling in it with absolutely nothing to show for it. The reality? The money just isn't there. So yeah, pretty much, she's a fraud. I'm just thrilled the show finally has some real drama. Dorit? Total fraud. Now, let's talk about the people getting all up in arms over Sutton calling Dorit poor, while conveniently ignoring the fact that Dorit owes the IRS a boatload of money. That should really tell you everything you need to know. At least try to be consistent, or just admit you can't stand Sutton and call it a day. The moral outrage over being called poor, which is somehow worse than, not paying taxes, while you're decked out head to toe in brand new designer clothes, is honestly giving me a headache. The hypocrisy is next level. And I still can't figure out why everyone's acting like it's such an unforgivable thing. It was a jab, people. Just like Dorit's constant digs about Sutton possibly having a drinking problem. It's part of the show's whole vibe. I'm not even a diehard Sutton fan, but let's be real. This show has been stuck in this endless loop where her castmates trash her season after season, and the second she fires back, suddenly it's how could she? Dorit is a grown woman, for crying out loud. She's been on the show for years. Trust me, worse things have been said than, "I'm richer than you." Oh, you've just jumped into Real Housewives. Welcome to the wild ride. So you started with RHONMI, and now you're on episode 8 of RHOBH, huh? I totally get what you mean about Camille and Kim. They're already giving off some Delulu vibes. It's like you're not really sure where they're coming from, but it's going to be a bumpy road. I can feel it. Lisa and Kyle are definitely your solid faves. Smart choices, trust me. As for the drama, you've barely scratched the surface. The fights in those early seasons are hilariously petty. Like, they're practically fighting over the most ridiculous things, and yet, it's so entertaining. Hold on tight, it only gets more absurd from here.